Hey everyone, I'm Carly Ann. I'm a full-time professional illustrator, and this channel is all about how to reach your goals with simple art tips. And one of the questions I get a lot are the books that I like to use and learn from and love. So I'm going to be breaking down just a couple, because I have a huge stack here, of my favorite books. I'm going to talk about my favorite books for drawing, painting, design, and inspiration. All right, let's go. Okay, first up, let's talk about drawing. Some of these books, to be fair, are out of print because I got them like 10 years ago, but most of them look like they have a newer version that is up. So I will leave links to everything that I could find down below so that you could grab them. All right, so starting off, let's talk about, we'll do perspective. Not my favorite topic. All right, so perspective is a great thing to learn just to get a general sense of where things are going to be placed and cubes and whatever. And I find that most perspective books are super intense and technical and terrifying. So I like this one because it's little and it keeps it very simple. I'll show you some pages here. So they do a lot more with like pictures, explaining vanishing points, how that all works. And it's not honestly as terrifying as most perspective books are. So I feel like this one's a really good one for getting started. Here we go, I'll give you some more examples. Okay, for example, it has this page where it has people and it shows you how to draw them back in perspective. So even if you don't want to be drawing like buildings and super technical things, you can still use this to help understand how to do those fundamentals. If you are going to be drawing people, it's important to learn at some point some basic anatomy and figure drawing. I did so much figure drawing when I was in school. I did like weekly, we had figure drawing sessions, and then I also went to a school nearby and I did their weekly figure drawing sessions. And then in the summer, I would do like a special boot camp where I would just do figure drawing all summer. So I feel like figure drawing has been a big reason why I've done well, is because I've spent so much time drawing people. And my favorite book for understanding how to draw people is this one. And I believe this one is still in print because it's a pretty well-known book. It's the Atlas of Human Anatomy for the Artist by Stephen Rogers Peck. I won't show you all the pages because there's nudity. I don't want YouTube to like knock it down, but if you're drawing naked people to understand the body and the form, this one has good examples, like what different ethnicities look like. And it has people at different ages, like adult and children, and their different proportions between each other. And then it has like large, like curvy bodies and skinny bodies and muscular bodies. And then it has these pages where it breaks down everything you need to know, for example, about the mouth and the eye, and so on. And so the reason I like this book is I find looking at a photo of someone or something to study it is helpful, but sometimes I need someone else to have done the drawing first and simplified it, because the photo there's so much information to take down. And so even though these are very realistic drawings, it helped me, well, he kind of mixed really realistic drawings with more simplified drawings. And that helped me understand how I could take a realistic drawing and simplify it. So I really love this book. I still go back to this one when I'm trying to learn how to draw parts of the body a little better. Next up, I'll give you my How to Draw Animals book that I really like. I got this one, I think this one might be signed. Yeah, this one's signed even. But I got this one. It's the Weatherly Guide to Drawing Animals. He is so good at drawing animals. But what I like about this book is, again, so he'll do where he has his rough sketches and also his final clean drawings. And again, that really helps me to see that very clean, perfect, realistic drawing compared with the sketch where they really simplified the forms, because I felt like that was something that I really had trouble doing. Even like explains how the legs work properly, if it's different animals, how to draw one from start to finish. And then he'll have things like this where he really breaks down the basic construction shapes that you need to draw it with the more realistic drawing, and breaks down a lot of animals that way with this book. Very much love this book. Okay. So my next How to Draw book, I feel like not everyone might feel like they would need, and I got it because I studied animation in college, so that's the reason why I have this book. But I feel like there's so much information in this book that is so helpful, even if you're not going to do animation specifically. If you're drawing the body or wanting to make things look like they're moving, I really think this book is amazing. And it's the Animators Survival Kit by Richard Williams. This book is still like a bestseller on Amazon. All right, so you'll notice that the style of the drawings is a little bit older. It's not quite modern, but what you're learning in here can absolutely be applied to anything. So for example, how to show weight. Even if you're not animating, you might want to draw a character and show this. And so these sort of illustrations and explanations are so helpful. Like, oh my gosh, I love this book. The other thing they'll show is like how to squash and stretch a face, how to exaggerate, how to make things look like they're moving. This book is huge. It's 300 pages, and some of it is very specific to animation, like how to make a ball bounce, and how to like set up to do your animation. But this book is gold, in my opinion. I will never get rid of this book. This book is amazing. The next category of books I want to show you is painting and color and light. I only have 2 books on this. I think a lot of what I've learned from painting and light, I've learned from online classes, but there was 2 books that stuck with me that I felt were really helpful, and I kept them as their books. And one is a very well-known book, which is Color and Light by James Gurney. Aside from just gorgeous painting on the inside here, it's so pretty. He will also talks about the different types of light. Even like if you're a traditional artist, he talks about like light fastness with like pens and stuff like that. But then he'll also explain things like chrome and value. This book for me is a little bit on the technical side. So if you're the kind of person that really likes to read technical books with lots of explanation, there's a lot of text in here to explain how these things work. And if you want to really understand the theory behind color and light, this is the book I would recommend. If you want to understand the color theory, this one's great. My other favorite painting book is for painting portraits. So painting skin was really hard to learn. And I learned everything traditionally first. That was the route I took. I learned how to draw and paint with acrylics, oils, watercolor, and then I started working digitally. And so when I was working in oil, I got this book, and it's so good. Okay, this comes with it. Already you have this whole little pull-out sheet of how the light affects this sculpture, and this is photo, so you know this is totally accurate at different lights. And then they have different color wheels. Oh my god, I just lied to you guys. This is the color and light one. So this is also gold. I should keep that with the correct book. I must have moved it to the other book because I like the other book better, and I was like, kept this because I was like, this is the best part of the color and light book. This is so valuable as an artist, understanding how light affects form. So that's really great. So now we have the portraits, and this one says Portraits from Life in 29 Steps. And I was really struggling with being able to paint skin tones, and it's really difficult to get the vibrancy of color. And when I did this book, I actually sat down with it and I did the 29 steps that he has in here. And I did it step by step on my own faces. And this was sort of what helped crack it for me to understand how to get vibrancy and light in skin tones. Let's show some more pages here. So he really breaks it down, like each step here and what colors to use. He even has a sheet here where if you are working traditionally, he tells you which paints to use and how to mix them and what they'll do. And this was a great base because I couldn't figure out how to even mix my paints. And it's like, to warm it, add this one, and to cool it down, use these ones. And then also just his ability to paint is just crazy good. And he also does a darker skinned person so that you can know how to do light skin and also dark skinned. And they're beautiful, absolutely gorgeous paintings. So I highly recommend this one if you're trying to figure out how to paint skin or people. I love this book. Okay, the next category is books that talk about how to design an illustration. So one of these I'll go with first isn't technically about illustration, it's actually about storyboarding. So I feel like I had a very interesting route to where I am now, but I was really interested in storyboarding for a while as well. Like I learned illustration and animation and storyboarding, and I kept this one because I felt like this was the one that helped me understand composition, which I definitely use as an illustrator. So I will show you some examples in here. Okay, sorry. So this one's called Cinematic Storyboard Workshop, and it's by Greg Davidson. This one is no longer in print, but he has a newer one. So hopefully it's even better. Like, I like little thin books that just get straight to the point. Okay, so very first thing in here, he talks about, for example, camera angles and how they affect the psychology of the person looking at it. Like if you're looking down on somebody, that makes them feel weaker, but if you're looking up, it makes them feel stronger, stuff like that. And then he talks about how to move your camera. If you're doing comics, for example, and you want to go from one person to another talking, he talks about how to do that and retain consistency between panels. And if you are interested in storyboarding, he also breaks down storyboarding mechanics, like how to show that you're zooming in or transitioning and the kind of notes that you should make, which are more specific to storyboarding exactly. But I found this one really helpful for trying to come up with more interesting camera angles and exploring that. And that's what I like this one for. Okay, if we're gonna talk more about design for illustration though, it's this book, which is Picture This, How Pictures Work by Molly Bang. And this is so graphic, obviously, but I've struggled with composition and design for a long time, and this book makes it so simple. Like it's just taking a triangle, the red triangle, and a bunch of lines, and talks about how it makes things feel different, right? So for example, she's like, if these were trees, because we can't see their tops, the trees seem tall. Like that's so simple. Like obviously, you're like, right, I process these things when I look at a picture, but I don't realize that's what's making you feel that way. So now I know if I want to make something look tall, maybe I need to have it crop off the top. Maybe I need to have it be really long. Just adding the teeth here made it feel more scary, right? From here. Making it feel more mysterious because now it's black and we can't see it, but we see that it's sharp, stuff like that. So she really just breaks down in a design way that's very simple how these different ways of making your shapes and using colors can affect what you see. So the purple is nice and round, and so this feels soft, and she used like motherly term as opposed to this, which is more dynamic, stuff like that. And it's really, I think it's really a key to understand if you're trying to do illustrations and trying to get across an emotion or feeling and you're not sure why you're not getting across, understanding these kinds of principles will really help you. And I think because she breaks it down so simply, it's a lot easier to understand and to apply to any of her drawings. All right, and the last but not least are my books that I keep for inspiration. I'm pretty much gonna show all the same kind of books because okay, so first of all, you should choose in general when you're deciding on books for inspiration. Obviously choose artists that you look up to, that are doing well in the field, that are like working. And if they have an art book, go ahead and get it and study it and look at what they did. And I think it's totally fine to trace drawings to study and then put it away and try and draw your own thing. And I often did that from books like this. But the ones that I love, because I'm a big Disney fan, are the art of books. So for example, this one is the art of book from Tangled. And it like you don't even get into it and it's already has incredible drawings. And they have these character sheets, which are the thing that I'm really into because I'm really into characters. Well, let me show you. So they see the character designs and what they did and like how the character looks like the squash and stretch. And they do that for all these characters. And then of course they have these absolutely incredible paintings inside. Oh my God. Yeah, and so I think art of books are just so full of just like complete gold. And then they even have like their storyboards. And so it pretty much doesn't matter, like if there's anything inside of a film that inspires you, one of these books will probably do it. Tangled is one of my favorite books of these. I also have Brave. So you'll see they all sort of have a similar format where they'll have concept sketches and final illustrations. My favorite part is always the concept sketches. So fun. I love all of these ones. So a couple of the ones that I have Tangled. I also have The Incredibles, which is a really fun one because it's so much more graphic in the explorations than the other ones. Like even just these like little clothing styles are so flat and graphic. Superheroes. This book is really fun. I really enjoy this one. And then you don't have to do Disney. Although I guess this is technically not Disney. I have this one, which is from The Hobbit. And you'll see that they do the same thing. They have their concept sketches in here before this is for the film, like the live action film, obviously. But they still have in here these incredible paintings and renderings. And I know that a lot of video games as well also have books like these that are great. So it's really just a matter of finding the game or the movie that you're really into and seeing if they have an art book. They tend to be more expensive, but they're amazing. The other thing you can do is find artists that worked on the film and see if they have their own art books as well, because they often do, or just other artists that you like that are making art books and have your own little collection that you can like turn to. It's nice sometimes to have a physical copy rather just like your Pinterest page, which I definitely love, because you can just sit down to it and you can have your drawing right next to it and compare it and just flip through it. And there's something about that I really love, which is why I love books, which is why I did a thing on books. All right, if you guys have any other questions or if you want me to go through my other like 15 books, I'm happy to do so. Those were my like favorites of all of them though. Let me know if you guys have any questions. And again, those links are down below. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.